Hey, how's it going, guys? Jackson here with Toasty DIY, and today I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and tricks on soldering. So whether you're a beginner or you've been doing this for a long time, hopefully you can learn a thing or two, and then in the comment section down below, maybe you can teach me a thing or two, because I've been soldering now for, I'd say, close to 10 years, but really not as a profession. So I know there's a lot of you out there probably doing this every day and, probably a lot better than me at it. So I'm just going to give you guys, some basics on, how to get started, especially, and, things to watch out for and things to make sure to do. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what all I have here. So this right here is the soldering iron. This is what they call like a soldering station typically, because you actually have your iron separate from the control unit. This is actually what controls the temperature. You could technically plug this right here straight into the wall, which is how a lot of cheaper soldering irons come. Those are unregulated. They just basically heat up to max temperature. The main issue you get is your soldering tips will disintegrate a lot of the times because they get way too hot. These guns are good for beginners, like the ones where they're just their own standalone unit, and especially if you don't solder often, but I highly recommend getting a controlled station like this if you can. So this is the WLC 100 by Weller. This is a pretty popular brand. It's about a $35 to, I would say, $45 station. It comes with a sponge, the iron, and then obviously the actual control unit. I'll go ahead and flip that on to get it warming up. This one does take about, I would say, like a minute to get, fully heated up to whatever temperature you have selected. I would recommend somewhere between, 3 to 4.5, and that's just depending on what you're doing, honestly. If you're doing really large soldering jobs, you're probably going to need 5. If you're just doing basic soldering, I would say 3 and 4, especially for lead-free. To go over real quick what we have here, these are two different spools of solder. These are both lead-free. Now, what does lead-free mean? So there's lead-free solder, and then there's 60-40-10 lead solder. So with the 10 lead, you get a really shiny finish. It's really easy to work with because it has a relatively low melting point. While with lead-free, you have a higher working with temperature. It takes longer to melt it. It dulls more. It's not as shiny when it dries. But the main, advantage is the fact that it doesn't have lead in it. So I highly recommend getting lead-free if you can. That's kind of what everything's switching over to nowadays, I would say. So the main two differences between these spools is one is 0.8 millimeter, one's 0.6. The 0.6 is obviously a lot smaller. This is more of like for your hobbyist soldering, I would say. It's a very fine solder. And then this stuff right here is, well, pretty close to hobby. It's a little bit bigger. This is probably, doing like your mid-size components. So to give you an idea on what I mean by that, let me go ahead and see if we can focus on this. So this right here is like an old laptop SSD, I believe. And as you can see, there's a lot of really small components. So like on most of this stuff, I would say we're going to be using the 0.6 because this is really small soldering job. However, like on one of these kits, where you have a lot of really large components like full-size resistors and stuff, we can use the 0.8 or even bigger if we really want to. Soldering iron should be heated up. One thing you got to keep in mind with a soldering iron, so this is an old tip. You guys can probably tell, even if you're not into soldering, just look at this tip. It's pretty oxidized and gross. So hopefully there's still some life left in this tip. We have a wet sponge right here, which comes with the kit. We're going to go ahead and wipe it off with the sponge, and we'll see if we can get it to be mostly shiny again. Okay, so look at that. We got a nice looking shiny tip. Now, the real test, I'm going to go and put the camera on the tripod to see if we can actually re-tin this tip. So what I mean by re-tinning the tip is basically, you see how we have the shiny part of the tip? That's your contact point. So really any part that's shiny, you can put solder on. It should stick to it really well. Yeah, so look at that. That's perfect. So the good news with this tip is we're not getting any major roll-off, which is basically where once you get a tip that's really oxidized, let's see if maybe I can do it up here. Maybe up here. Okay, you see how, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the solder is just falling off. It's not sticking here. However, we go to here, solder sticking right to it. That's what we want. If you're getting the solder doing this where it's just basically turning into beads and falling off, you're not going to be able to solder with this tip. And if you are, it's going to be really ugly and really difficult. So I'm going to leave it tinned just to keep it, from oxidizing as quickly, so that once we're ready to solder, then I will wipe it off with a sponge again. That's when we'll put a little bit of solder on there and then we'll start soldering. Alright, so what we have here is a basic soldering board. It does have the alphabet organized up here and then also numerals down here. There's also some what I call surface mount pads. So the big difference is these donut holes are through holes. So basically, you should be able to stick this here and then we'd solder on this side, okay? So we're gonna actually go ahead and do that. So we're gonna lay this on its back and we actually have all of the pins sticking out, which is good. So we're going to use our 0.6 for this. I'm going to go ahead, clean off my iron. We're going to get some solder on the end of the tip. So you see we got some solder on it, just like that. And then we're going to touch it against what we want to solder. we're creating a bridge basically between the solder and the pad. And look, just like that, we now have... All right, so we're gonna try to go ahead and just do like a whole row here. So we're using the 0.6. I'm actually gonna be using the back side of this tip because this conical end or the flat end does not work well. But as you can see, we're being really careful. So it's okay, you know, you do want to rest the iron. Basically, the whole point is to rest the iron in between the little donut pad and the actual piece you're trying to solder. So I'm kind of cornering my iron into each one of these. Now, one thing you do want to be careful of is these are really close together. If you do touch two of them together, you are going to probably cause a bridge. Now, that's not a big deal if that does happen. What you want to do if that happens is basically take your iron and then you're going to kind of stroke between them. So basically clean the tip off as much as you can, you know, to where you don't have a ton of excess solder, or else you're just going to spread more on it. And then basically just do like a quick swipe across, and you can usually get it off like that. Another thing that really helps is having flux. So I know I haven't really talked about that much. The solder technically does have flux in it, I believe. I think it has a small amount of flux core. So essentially flux just really helps with getting the solder to go exactly where you want it. You put it on whatever components you need, and as long as it's solderable, the flux will basically suck the solder into it. So one thing you do want to keep in mind is if you want to make your tip last a while, do you see how my tip's starting to get really dull again? That's because this is an old tip. The older they are and the hotter you have the iron, the quicker they oxidize over. So I'm going to take it over here and we'll show you guys the difference. We're going to use the sponge that's wet, and voila, we have a much shinier tip now. And then just to make sure that it doesn't get ruined again, we're going to go ahead, put a little bit of solder over the main parts that we want to solder with, especially if we're going to put it down for a minute. Always make sure you turn your iron off, you know, if you're going to leave it for more than, I would say, 2 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off now. So these are not the prettiest solders. Joints, as I said, I mean, these weren't really the most ideal conditions, but you know what? This circuit would work perfectly fine. And as you can see, we have soldered all of them. They're all pretty, concave. We don't have to worry about any, joints that weren't fully touched by the solder. And this is pretty strong too. I mean, you're not going to be able to break that off or anything, but yeah, I hope these kind of basic tips were helpful. I mean, it'd be nice if I had a camera that could zoom in a little bit more, but hopefully you guys are able to see the basics of it. If you do decide to get an iron, I'll leave links in the description down below for ones like this. I'll also leave the solder that was used in this video in the description as well. And then maybe a couple of kits too, because, these are pretty cool where they come with all different types of pads and stuff to solder to. They come with a lot of cool joints, these right here, so that you can actually clip wires into to be able to make some pretty cool circuits. There's a lot of really cool like Arduino boxes, as they call them, where they come in cases like this, all over Amazon and eBay for super cheap, and they're really good to get started on soldering. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.